Good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael.
We're talking more than $7 billion. I just want to clarify, firstly, how much of that $7 billion plus is actually new money?
Well, it's all new money in as much as we are investing heavily into infrastructure. Of course, we had a 10-year rolling plan of $100 billion. We want to add jobs to this sector. This is the recession we didn't need to have. We want to build and construct our way out of it. I know that agriculture and resources has been largely carrying the country, indeed, as has regional areas through COVID-19. We want infrastructure. We need infrastructure. Our Australian people deserve the very best infrastructure, and tomorrow's budget will deliver just that.
OK, so that $7 billion comes from that, as you say, already announced 10-year rolling $100 billion infrastructure
We're making
fund.
sure we've got the right money for the right projects.
You're fast-tracking the money, in other words.
Absolutely.
OK, now how much of this will involve the participation of the state governments?
Oh, it'll really involve the state governments. We want state governments and territory governments to invest as well. And that's why I contacted each and every one of the state and territory governments last night to tell them about this approach. They absolutely know that we've brought forward money even from last year's mid-year economic fiscal outlook, $4.8 billion. We've invested billions of dollars in infrastructure since late last year, and of course COVID-19 has shown us that we need very much our connectivity to be what it needs to be, to get that product from plate to port and to our markets. And whether it's in the resources or ag sector, we need the best roads, we need the best rail, and that's why we're investing heavily in it. It's all about jobs. It's all about the Bruce Highway, the Newell Highway, the Goldfields Highway in WA. Every state, every territory is getting infrastructure that they so desperately need, and we're building jobs. We're creating them.
OK, speaking of fast-tracking, there are very firm indications this morning that as part of the budget we'll see the fast-tracking of those already legislated tax cuts, stage 2 and stage 3. Do you acknowledge, though, Michael McCormack, there are serious concerns about stage 3 unduly favouring high-income earners?
Well, what we want to make sure is that Australians can be their best selves, whether they're high-income earners, whether it's somebody who is a job seeker in Joondalup in WA. We want to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind. We want to make sure that if there's a job, that Australians take it. The Regional Australia Institute last week identified 45,600 jobs in regional Australia. And we want those people who are unemployed, who are seeking work, to take those positions. If you've got a job, then we want you to get to maximise the opportunities and benefits from having that job. The best form of welfare is a job, and if you're in a job that is well paying and can improve yourself even further, then we want to make sure then you have the ability to do just that. We are a government that has always been about lower taxes. At the moment, a small business paying the lowest tax rate it has since 1940. So whether it's a small business, backbone of the economy, whether it's an individual tax earner, we want you to pay less tax so that you can be, your best self, so that cash flow can flow throughout the economy. We've seen right throughout this COVID-19 that it's been very hard for small businesses because largely with the borders shut in many places, they haven't had that cash flow through their business. And as a former small business operator myself, I know how tough it is. I know how difficult it is when you don't have that cash flow. We want to make sure that Australians have more money of their own money that they earn in their back pocket so that they can, when they do go out to the shops, when the borders do reopen, that they can spend it. OK, now the Treasurer, Josh Frydenberg, says the budget assumptions are based on a vaccine being available to Australians next year. That is a bit of a gamble, isn't it? Well, we know that right across the world, they're in the late developmental stage for the vaccine. We know how hard our Australian universities are working with other universities and other institutions around the world. Best medical advice and experts are taking part in this process of getting a vaccine, and we need it. We so desperately need it, and of course when it does become available, hopefully early next year, that it will be very much freely available to each and every Australian and indeed our Pacific Island friends. We're a good neighbour. We want the Pacific to be its best self. We're looking out for our Tongan and all our friends in Fiji and right across the Pacific, and we'll do that. But we'll also, of course, put Australians first, and we'll make sure that when a vaccine does become available, it is free and accessible and available to each and every Australian.
It is interesting you praise the work of Australia's universities there, Michael McCormack. Does the government, given the thousands of job losses across universities in Australia, does the government have any regrets at all about not extending the JobKeeper program to the tertiary sector?
Well, it has been very tough for our university sector because they haven't had the international students, but we will continue to work with the university.
And also no great help from the federal government, it has to be said.
Well, we've certainly made sure that for those going to university, that when they come out, that job-ready graduate program and initiative that we've put in place, that Dan Tean works so hard in collaboration with universities, that there are jobs for those university students, that they are ready to take on the world. Our university students are amongst the best in the world. Our universities are the best in the world. We want them, of course, to even be better, and we're certainly backing them. We're making sure that no sector of the economy gets left behind, whether it's the tertiary sector, whether it's somebody in a job or indeed someone looking for a job.
Well, the tertiary sector begs to differ, but we can have this conversation on another day. Michael McCormack, thank you.
Thanks, Michael.